that I'm going to run you through how we're going to get to 300k a month, and I'm going to break you down what that looks like, and hopefully give you a bit of a strategy of how to get to 10k, 20k, 30k, whatever that goal is, and kind of use this as a strategy and a layout and a kind of a structure in order to help you hit that goal. So the first thing we always start off with is like the actual number. What are we going to sell? What does it need to look like? So we've got bundle packages, which you've heard me talk about loads of times. But average price of those, honestly, we're moving to some 10k ticket ones, but I'm sticking with 5 just so we can be pessimistic. One of the things I would highly, highly recommend when you're doing this is be as pessimistic as possible with these numbers, because worst case, you overachieve. And there's no kind of like, you just want to make sure that the numbers are lower than you think they're actually going to be. So then when you miss something or something's wrong, like at the end of the day, this is a prediction. I know with obviously all of the research we've done and how far we've got already that we can push past that anyway. But yeah, this is what we're going to focus on. So we need 50, we need to shift 50 bundles, which give us £2.25 million. DIY. So this is going to be an option that we're basically going to downsell. So if people can't afford this bigger package, we're just going to give them the automation and say, here you go, set them up yourself. There's going to be a bit of a video and support around that structure-wise. And then we've got custom builds. So this is going to be like, once again, your one-off custom automations and so on. With a total of like aiming for just over 300,000. Realistically, I'm hoping we smash past that. Because the rest of the numbers are equally pessimistic. So the meeting side, we need 55 closes in order to get to that point, not including the upsells. We need a 15% close rate. So therefore we need 366 sales calls. On the basis that 30% don't show, once again, our no-show rate is lower than that, but I'm going on the pessimistic side at 20%. And once again, our close rate, our lowest is like 20%, 22%. So realistically, we should smash through this anyway. We need 23.8 calls a day, which actually works out at 8 calls a day across 3 closes. So quite achievable to do. We've then got how we're going to generate those leads. So we have ads. We're testing that at the minute. We're seeing really good results with that. We reckon we can easily scale that to 300. I've done that. Our cost per booked meeting at the minute is £32. I'm going on the fact that this number will not scale and will not make sense and will not maths at a higher level. So therefore, it's going to cost us £90 a booked meeting. So I'm doing the pessimistic side again. So I'm going to say it's going to cost us £27,000 a month on ad spend alone. We've then got LinkedIn. So at the minute, we book like 10 meetings through LinkedIn every single month, and that's on 2 accounts. Really, I want to push this to like have the whole team on LinkedIn. It's just something that's just not the effort got around to doing. And then, yeah, realistically, that will increase. But our cost per booked meeting on that is £4, which is like, try and do that anywhere else. If you know what it is, if you get booked meetings for £4, please let me know. Cold email, we're booking way over that at the minute, 130. But once again, being pessimistic on this, if something goes wrong, then, you know, we can do that either way. Yeah, once again, we can do huge scale. At the minute, it costs us £37 per lead, totaling £1,480. Super easy to do. You then got the upsells, you've got the organic, and that totals as 50 booked sales calls. Which, like, the numbers on these are like really good, 28,520. Realistically, there's no reason why. It just seems too good to be true, so I've added in that it's actually going to be 45. I don't think it will be, but, you know, once again, I'd rather be pleasantly surprised that I've massively miscalculated it. We then got our current bottlenecks. So we managed 1 month 290k. That was our best performing month so far. However, the things that we are struggling with at the minute is sales. Well, these 3 sales. And one of the things that we're pushing to get past is like 22% is not a particularly good close rate. I want that higher. I want 100% of people to buy. Obviously, that's unrealistic, but, you know, if you don't aim for it, then you can't achieve it. So one of the things we're finding is there's a trust element. Which is how can we get people to have more trust in us, know who we are, and just have a bit more trust in the market before they kind of buy. So what we've planned to do, and is in the works as we speak, is build a trust video. So a pre-sales call VSL. So post booking the meeting, pre-sales calls, a video run through. It's going to have a load of basically frequently asked questions at the bottom that have video answers to those questions. So basically just pre-objection handle people, so they know what they're buying, they know what they're going for, and when they get on the sales call, it's then just a case of like, okay, I'm here to ask a couple of questions and pay, and that's how we're going to frame it. So that should just help speed that process up. And then we're putting in a post follow-up call sequence. So for people who don't buy, they will now get added to a post call. Really, it's basically a follow-up sequence to go through that. We then obviously need more leads. So we're increasing the spend and volume on cold email. We're spending lots on cold email, more than that number that I've originally included. But also it's like, it's super achievable to kind of push that up. We've then got more training for the closers. So we hired 5 salespeople originally, literally like 2 months ago. And we learned the hard way and the expensive way that we need better materials to train people faster so that they can get in and out of our, like, it's from complete newbie messing up all of the sales call to complete pro as quickly as humanly possible. So that is our goal. And how quickly can we get them from novice to expert in our niche, in our audience, like selling in the way that we want them to sell, and just get it nailed and done and out the door. Really, at the minute we were just showing them previous calls and so on, and we need better materials around that. Scope of work. So this is for custom builds and also kind of the bundles. We need to make sure that everything is in black and white, and what you're getting, what's being delivered, what it looks like, literally everything, just so that we can kind of make sure that it's all ironed out and clear. Then there's no scope creep. We're working on that at the minute and just kind of being a bit more defined and making sure that the sales guys don't oversell it. And also there's like a document on it. What we're doing, which I've covered in another video, is phased selling. So it's basically going through and making sure that each section really is like sectioned off into phases. So therefore, when people go through, they are given what they need to do and kind of like what that next phase is. So if they come back and come up with new features, then we can say, brilliant, that's the next stage. Really, and we add that into the next phase, which we haven't quoted for yet, and then we quote for the phase 2. Really, so that's kind of how we're scoping it out. And then fulfillment time. So we need to speed up the bundles. We've got quite a few clients that are coming back for additional support. So how can we negate that and make sure that everyone is comfortable enough with what we've delivered so that they can get in and out of the door very quickly? That's kind of our focus, and kind of speed up really seeing people out and pushing them through. Really, and then we can upsell more support if they need, but just be a bit more clear about what they're getting and what we're delivering. Really, we've then got the team. So this is what it needs to look like. In order to get those number of closes, we need 4 sales reps. We're going to need 3 client success. At the minute, we've got 2, but we're going to need to push that to 3. Basically 1.5 at the minute. We've got 2 VAs. They're excellent. And then we've got, really, goodness me, that took me a minute. 5 automation builders and a bigger pool that we're laying into. Realistically, this is probably double that, that we're just like laying into when we need additional support. But really, it costs us nothing to have. They're basically contractors that we're leaning into quite heavily. And those 5 core guys are on salaries and basically they're doing it on a day-to-day basis. Really, what does that look like from a cost point of view? So total team cost. So we need sales reps, consultants, the advanced sales reps, basically customer facing, automation builders, bundles, SaaS builders, client success, and so on. We're basically looking at £83,000 worth of staff cost every single month, which is terrifying, but hey. I've added 20% margin of error, well, 20-ish%, which gives us 100k. Our lead gen cost is 45. Once again, that's an exaggerated 45. So we're aiming for, our cost should be around, I guess these are fixed costs, so I was going to say variable costs. That should be about £145,000. We've got £5,000 worth of fixed costs. That's stuff like costs, it's paying for GoHigh level, it's stuff like that. And then we've got 300k which is our goal, minus that, we should still be operating on a nice 50% margin. So I hope that gives you a bit of a streamline of like what the steps you should go through, and also kind of like basically for me to state what our plan is. I know you lot can hold me accountable to that. But yeah, you're looking at kind of like what this looks like, the meeting side, you've got the ads, you've got kind of how we're going to generate the leads, how many meetings we need. It's basically doing the numbers and working it backwards. And then like people don't often sit and go like, okay, what's our problem? What is a bottleneck? Really, the only thing I am doing is trying to fix these. Like, if I can solve these, we can get to the best of it. Obviously, I'm now with like hiring about, okay, how do we build the team out to look more like this? And should we be taking more of these in-house? Realistically, they're like little decisions. Like, if I choose to not take these people in-house, it doesn't break anything. If I choose to, it doesn't break anything. So therefore, it isn't as important as fixing like a trust document and increasing sales and decreasing number of leads to start with. So it's just picking which lever to pull. Really, knowing these numbers obviously massively helps, and I can work out the cost of that. But yeah, I hope that was helpful and gives you a bit of an idea of how I sit and think and scope these things out, and also gives you a bit of an idea of how we intend on getting to 300k a month.